I watched this movie called Eyes Wide Shut the other day, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's by Stanley Kubrick, and it teaches us so many fascinating things about relationships, fantasies, and sexual desires. And this is what I learnt. Well, more so, this is what I was reassured because I knew this beforehand. But all this movie did is just reinstate the idea that women fantasize about sex outside of their relationship. If you think that your woman only wants to have sex with you and nobody else, you would be mistaken. That's not to say that she's going to have sex with someone else, but the idea that she fantasizes about having sex with someone else is certainly true. Just as much as men want to have sex with other women while they are with their woman, because let's think about it. Ultimately, we're animals. And in the animal kingdom, a lion's job, the alpha male's job, is to sow his seeds amongst different herds and different prides so that he's got a bunch of kids in different prides, and then the women just look after his children. And he just goes around fighting other alpha males and sleeping with the harem, sleeping with the women, and having babies so he can sow his seed. Okay, so the I mean, you might want to call this toxic masculinity, call it what you like. Genghis Khan was the champion of this because the guy like had so many different children, and you kind of realize that this is the, I wouldn't call it the true essence of masculinity. I think that's quite a toxic way of doing things, but there must be a reason why in nature that exists. Why does a man want to sow his seeds? And ultimately, the term is conquer. Man wants to conquer all different types of women and sow his seeds so that he's conquering a large landmass. Perhaps they did this back in the day so that they could have more children to work the field for them. Or maybe it makes you feel like more of a leader. But that's how men want to operate. But what about women? Now, if you think your woman is not promiscuous, you would be mistaken, my friend. You would be highly mistaken. Don't be naive and don't be a fool. Going back to the movie Eyes Wide Shut, what happens is at the beginning of the movie, Nicole Kidman and a young Tom Cruise, both of them looking beautiful in their young, wonderful Hollywood age, and the scene is set in New York. And she explains to her husband, Tom Cruise, and they have a child together, that she would have given it all up, her marriage and her child, for one night with this naval officer that she saw in a hotel once. She said that she checked into a hotel and this naval officer was in the main lobby area and he was going into the lift up to his room, and he stopped and took one look at her, and she said she stopped and looked back, and she said that she froze. And that one look that this guy gave her obviously muffled her feathers and got her horny, did all sorts to her, obviously got her hormones flying. And in the movie, she actually explains to her husband, which is not advisable. It's a movie, this isn't real life, okay? But these movies do teach us lessons about how real life operates. It indicated to us that she expressed her sexual desires even to her husband and said, I would have risked it all to have sex with this one naval officer. Now, obviously, as a man, when you hear that, you lose your fucking mind. And that's exactly what Tom Cruise did. And then that's the very beginning of the movie. And the rest of the movie is actually about Tom Cruise himself then going off and looking for sex and ending up, I don't want to spoil it for you, but ends up getting involved in a society that deems quite dangerous, and his life becomes at risk, all because he wanted to have sex and he wanted to be promiscuous. Now, there are societies like that that exist. I have come across them where you'll wear a mask, you'll be completely secretive. There's a secret code to get in. It's usually in money circles. And then there's all sorts of weird sexual orgy stuff that happens in these environments. And it's mainly money circles, and the kind of women that go there are either swingers, but you get a lot of like prostitutes and hookers that also go there as well. So you're not talking about you're going to meet like high quality women. You're not going to meet your wife at a swinging sex party, okay? Just, I mean, obviously you were clear about that beforehand. But the point of this video is to explain to you that women are also promiscuous, and even when they're in a relationship, they think about having sex outside of that relationship. Because listen, even they get bored of having sex with the same person for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Okay? So I don't blame her for wanting to have sex with someone else. Now, whether she acts on that or not is a different story. So let's move to the modern day and discuss how modern day people are actually trying to solve this, and how I would potentially solve this with the girlfriends and the women that I've been with. Now, people have attempted open relationships whereby you have one woman and you love her, and you're with her, but you're also allowed to have sex with other women. There are also other instances I've come across whereby people have multiple lovers. Okay, so that's polyamory, where you can love multiple people at the same time. Now, it depends what works for you. I don't think these new age systems really do work. I think they're just fun and games, and they're just humans trying to discover what really works for them. I think the old school way still works best, the traditional way of a man and a woman being together. Despite the fact that they want to be promiscuous, they maintain their relationship. Now, I don't personally think I'm going to be able to do that, even though I think it works really well and I think it's the most sustainable. What I think is going to work for me is loving one woman, being with one life partner, but ultimately wanting to have sex with other women. And it's a difficult ask because with one of my ex-girlfriends who was from Finland and she was 6 foot tall and she was absolutely cracking. And I do miss her sometimes. And I sent her a message recently. She's blonde, green eyes. We would have had really beautiful kids. I did mention to her, I said to her, look, you are my woman and you are my partner. However, I do fantasize about potentially having sex with other women, but it wouldn't mean anything if I did. So this is something that would happen if you're going to be with me. Now, I would support you and look after you, but I would also end up and I would let you know who I'm having sex with as long as it was consensual. And if you consented to that, then we can move forward. So I'm not a scumbag. I was honest with her. I didn't want to lie to her. I wanted to tell her straight up, this is what I'm planning to do. Now, she kept quiet and didn't say much. So that obviously indicated that she wasn't a big fan of that idea. Most women will not be. You have to be an absolute G. You've either got to have some serious status or some serious money in order for them to be like, okay, fine. I mean, I'm just going to have to share this guy and he's going to look after me and I'm going to live a good life with him. But ultimately, I don't think any woman is actually going to accept that. So it's a difficult, modern day relationships are very difficult. Polyamory and open relationships, from my experience, they don't work. They're fun in the short term, but I haven't seen them work in the long term. Now, if you've seen someone make that relationship work in the long term, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to know someone that's made an open relationship work, over the long term. So, again, she's going to be thinking about all these promiscuous concepts and ideas, and she's going to be wanting to have sex with other people. Whether she pulls the trigger or not is a whole different story. And whether you consent to that or not is entirely up to you two. But if you for 1 second think that your woman is not fantasizing about other men, then you would be a fool. Because even I have come across women who have boyfriends, who are married, who have come across me on certain nights out, wherever I've been around the world, whether it be Tulum, Mexico, Miami in the USA, Marbella in Spain, all these different countries. Women will fantasize about certain types of masculine men, or just certain types of men. They don't have to be masculine, they just have to be attracted to you. And that attraction just triggers this sexual fantasy in their mind, like, I wonder what sex with this guy would be like. I've been having sex with my partner for a few years. We haven't had sex for a few weeks because it's got boring now. I've just had an argument with him. Whoa, sex with this guy would be pretty wild. But does she pull the trigger or not? That's the key part. She is promiscuous. She is thinking about it. She is definitely fantasizing. But whether she pulls the trigger or not is a whole different story. And I do wish you luck on that front. These things are best discussed beforehand and not left in secret. And I don't believe in lying or sleeping behind people's backs. That's not something I'm going to do because I don't hide shit. The title of this channel is Real Ralph Anthony. My name is Ralph Anthony and I try to be as real as possible. So I'm not going to lie to a woman and sleep behind her back because then when she finds out, then I'm in even deeper shit. So like I did with my ex-girlfriend, I would rather tell him straight up at the beginning and be like, I'm going to sleep with other women. Is this okay or not? I will look after you and you'll be my partner and I will love you and I will look after you. But do you agree to consensual sex? And if she says no, then that relationship is going to be very difficult to maintain over the long run.